Hello everyone, welcome to LeapScholar. From free IELTS lectures and practice questions to mock interviews and tips and tricks, you will find everything here at IELTS Prep by LeapScholar to ace the IELTS test. Hence, to ensure the best learning experience, make sure to subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon to get your daily dose of IELTS content.
Hi everyone, I have something to share with you. My team has informed me that more than 75% of our viewers have not subscribed to our channel. We are extremely delighted with the fact that you have been viewing our channel, you're learning from the content. So please do subscribe as it will help us and motivate us to create more such content for you all. Thank you. Good afternoon. State your full name, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Kanika Singh.
And how may I address you?
You may address me as Kanika.
Kanika. Kanika, what are you carrying as your identification today?
I am carrying my passport. Here it is. Thank you.
Okay. So Kanika, I'm going to start this exam with a few questions about your childhood. Right? Did you enjoy your childhood?
Absolutely. I loved my childhood. I was a total 90s kid with bad haircut and amazing outfits. I loved, playing football with my friends. I also loved the fact that we had a really close-knit community.
What is the most cherished memory you have of your childhood?
Oh, I have a great anecdote about that. I was a very competitive child, and in class 3, there was a sports event that was held that day, and I had competed in a lot of activities, and there was this last activity which was left for the day, and I was really tired about that. So when the race was about to start, I looked at my dad, sort of just telling him that I'm really tired and I don't want to do that. He just looked at me and just nodded at me as a sort of an encouragement. And just that moment, one of my teachers who was at the podium saw that, and she just announced that, Kanika, don't look at your dad. And that was such a special moment for me because I realized that everyone had acknowledged that little bit of encouragement that I got. And even though it was a little bit anticlimactic that I didn't really win the race as such, but I came second, which was great. So that was a great memory that I had.
What did you like doing as a child?
I did a lot of things as a child, but primarily I loved drawing and singing. I used to love attending the school choirs during the Christmas time, and it was actually how I made a lot of friends in intra-school competitions as well.
Let us now talk about the topic colors. What is your favorite color?
Oh, I love the color yellow. Every time I look at it, it absolutely makes my day.
Which color do you dislike the most and why?
I don't dislike colors as such, but if I have to take up a name, I think gray would be one because when I think about gray skies, I think about cloudy, gloomy weather, which makes me want to, be in bed curled up with a book. So yeah.
Do you purchase clothes of the same color or shades?
Absolutely, actually. For the longest time, I had this obsession with beige or browns. So a lot of my outfits were basically of that color. Recently, I have seen that I've transitioned into a more white, monochromatic palette, which is white and black. So yeah.
All right. So Kanika, now we're going to start the next part of our exam. This is your notepad, your question.
Thank you.
And your stationery. For it, you will be given 1 minute to prepare and thereafter 2 minutes to speak.
Okay.
All right? Your 1 minute starts now.
So a web series that I recently finished during the long weekend was Stranger Things, and this was the third installation in the series. This show is basically it's set in the 80s American, very small, county state, and it talks about a bunch of teenagers and their quest in saving the world. So what happens during the entire show is basically that basically that there is the supernatural being that they are trying to save the world from, while at the same time dealing with their own coming of the age problems as well. So you see that there are a lot of elements and themes that the show also prioritizes. For example, there is substance abuse, there is relationship troubles, there are again how do you sort of settle in a new place as well. Then of course there is the theme of bullying as well, and how do you deal with that. And what I loved about the show was that it didn't really just prioritize the fact that saving the world is not just a macro problem, but it could also be a micro problem, which is how do you save your own world from falling apart, which the characters in their own way are sort of trying to deal with as well. One character that I really related with in the show was Nancy. And Nancy is basically a journalist who's trying to juggle her career aspirations as well as a relationship. And what I really loved about her character was that she was so practical, so quick, and very, very resourceful as well. Anytime she felt there was a problem, anytime she had to come up quickly for answers, her presence of mind was amazing. So in fact, the last scene was actually about her looking the villain of the story right in the eye and just basically going pointing that gun towards him. And that, I feel, is the essence of not just her character but the entire show as well, that they all sort of battle their own demons, face them, and then come out stronger. So of course, when the show ended, I felt that I had a lot of mixed feelings because I loved the show, but at the same time, the bits and pieces were melodramatic. So I thought that it could have been better.
Okay, so let us move on to the next part. Do you think children should be allowed to watch web series?
I think to an extent, because I feel that the OTT platforms host a lot of content, and that all of the content might not be suitable for children. So a parental advisory, parental monitoring and guidance is really required. And that's why I would say that it is only to an extent that the children should be exposed to that content.
Are web series replacing movies these days? If yes, will this trend continue in the future?
I think absolutely. In the recent times, what I've noticed is that all of my friends, me, my family, in fact, as well, we have all shifted from watching TV, traditionally, which was on television, and we have moved to OTT platforms. So I think the reason why we moved on to OTT platforms was because of the experimental content that we had the chance to sort of look at. And because of the fact that experimental content comes with a lot of different genres as well, which basically means that you have a lot of different content to choose from, and that gives the audience, the viewer, a sort of choice in what they want to sort of look at or view. So I think yes, absolutely, this trend will continue in the future as well.
Are there any negative influences of web series on the audience?
Yeah, to an extent, I think that there is a fine line or a fine distinction between real and real, and a lot of people, when they are consuming a kind of content which is very intense or very overwhelming, they tend to sort of very, very tread the line very thinly, and they might not really understand the distinction. So that needs to be always be at the back of the mind of the user, of course. So yeah.
What are the impacts of producing web series on the film industry?
Oh, I think the kind of content that is coming up is so experimental, it is so different, and it basically increases the competition. So now the films and the film producers, everybody who's related in the film industry, have to sort of up their ante and come up with newer content, which will make sure that the kind of audience that until recently films used to enjoy, they would also similarly get the kind of audience in the future as well.
Thank you, Kanika. That was the end of your speaking test.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now we are going to assess this test taker based on the 4 band descriptors: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. The test taker was able to speak at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. However, I felt that her discourse markers and connectors used were minimal. She could have used a little bit more. When it came to lexical resource, I must appreciate her for using very good vocabulary and a few good idiomatic phrases. Even some of her sentences were very well constructed and was sounding more of a native speaker. So some of a few good words: monochromatic, quest, coming of age, juggle, resourceful, a few good sentences. I was a total 90s kid. I was a very competitive child, right? And her idioms she used during her test: battle their own demons, bits and pieces. So all these things were quite nice. When she was speaking, it fit the answer quite aptly. Let's come to grammatical range and accuracy. She did use a lot of complex structures. However, I felt that she was able to produce error-free sentences, but there were a lot of fillers that caused multiple pauses during her speaking, especially in her part 2, that quite affected the flow of her speaking. That's because her train of thought was getting disturbed. Her pronunciation was quite nice. The person who will listen to her will be able to understand, and it was quite effortless. Her pronunciation of words, stress on certain words, they were all correctly done. I would give this test taker a band 7.5. Okay, so now you all must have, you must have analyzed yourself right now. You know what band you are at. We have a huge number of videos on speaking tips. You have practices, different types of words, vocabulary, idioms, many ways we have in order for you to learn and improve your English and your vocabulary, specific topics related to the IELTS. Do go and watch these videos and tell us how you feel about it. Thank you.